Hi Quilters, today's show is all about ways to bust your stash in a flash. Stay tuned for plenty of pre-cut inspiration. Hi Quilters, I'm Pam Heller, Applique Quilt's cutting expert. Welcome to today's trunk show called Bust Your Stash in a Flash. The lovely Erica is off today, so it's just you and me and our live stream team. And speaking of things that are gone, the Go Kitten die is all sold out at AppliqueQuilt.com. If you want one, check out your local Applique Quilt retailer. Today is the last day. It's only available through the end of the month, and today's the 30th. All right, in our show today, we're going to talk about busting up your stash and using those to make some cool projects. In addition, we're going to have some great prizes, quick and easy project ideas, and a really fun trunk show. So let's start with busting basics, because busting makes me feel good. You all know that movie, right? Ghostbusters. I'm going to show you how to cut strips and squares. Now, one of the easiest pre-cuts to make are charm squares. These are 5-inch squares made from a variety of fabric. Today we're going to use cotton, and then I'm going to show you a super slick trick to make charm squares. All right, so this, Quilters, is our 5-inch strip die. We have 18 sizes of strip dies, starting from 1 inch to 6.5 inches. This one cuts a 5-inch square, so it's going to finish to 4.5 if you use it in a project. Remember, all of our geometric shapes, including our strip dies, have that 1/4 inch seam allowance built in. You can always cut up to 6 layers of cotton. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it this way. I've just rough cut my fabric 5.5 inches with the fabric strip. And this was actually just some scraps that I had. Notice it's not a whole width of fabric strip, but I wanted to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up here. You want to have it parallel to that black line. Past this black line, there are no blades, so it's going to stop cutting. You could always do up to 6 layers of fabric. Make sure you have a 10 by 24 mat. Now, all of our strip dies, I'm going to use our Go Big today, but all of our strip dies will work in our Go fabric cutter and our Go Big. We have 2 sizes of strip dies that will work in our Go Me, a 2.5 inch and then a multi-strip die. So check them out if you have a Go Me. All right. It is so humid and staticky here in the Dream Studio. I'm going to give my mat a little bit of love, and I'm going to pull back. And now look at this. I've cut a perfect 5-inch strip. So here's my slick trick to make charm squares. I'm just going to take this strip, and I'm going to line it up right here where it says 90 degrees. In Applique Quilt world, we call this fan folding. So we're going to go back and forth across the die board. Notice, Quilters, I started from the open end, not the folded end. Because sometimes you can get just enough to get one more square if you needed to. So I'm just barely going to cover my blades. Okay, look at that. Now, it's only going to cut where there's fabric in a mat, and since I only have one section, I'm going to use my 6-inch mat. But here's the other trick. You could take your clear plastic ruler and line up all the way down the die board and cut multiples of charm squares, which I think is super cool. All right, so I'm going to use my 6x6 mat. All right. Give that mat some love. Slide, don't lift. And now look, Quilters, I have perfect 5-inch charm squares. So I'm going to leave those right there because I'm going to come back in a little bit and show you what to do with them. All right. So next, let's talk about our most popular strip die. It is our 2.5-inch strip die. What do you use 2.5-inch strips for? Everything, borders, binding, sashing, jelly rolls. So maybe you want to think about creating your own jelly rolls with that 2.5-inch strip die. So just like the one I just showed you, all right, oh, here, I'm going to do it this way. Oh, I had it right the first time, dang. All right, so here is some scrap fabric that I had in my stash. I've cut off the salvage edge, okay, because you're not going to use it anyway. So this is kind of another little trick I want to show you because, listen, I don't want to have to subcut this again because, right, it's just going to have that little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the fold parallel to that black line. That's how we don't get mountains in the middle. And then look at this, quilters. I'm just going to take and fold it up right here. Now here I have 4 layers of fabric, here I only have 2. So if I had some other fabric that I wanted to, I could line it up here and fold it in again, and then I would have 6 layers. That 6-layer rule is a rule. It is not just a guideline, all right? So now I'm gonna use my big mat again. So think about all of those pieces that you have that are maybe not, you know, the right width. Oop, there we go. Now, if you were making jelly rolls, you would for sure want to cut width of fabric strips so that they're long enough. And then you could use maybe 10 or a jelly roll usually has 40, right? 40 strips. So you could do a little math and kind of figure out how many of each strip that you wanted. I think that would be really fun, like if you are a quilt guild and you're looking to do like a fabric exchange. Boy, if everybody brought in with the fabric strips that you subcut to 8 inches and kind of swapped them, then everybody could have jelly rolls. I think that'd be fun. All right, give it some love. Slide, don't lift. And see, look, I had very, very little waste, okay? And then quilters, I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I did here, where I could lay these here at 90 degrees, go all the way down the die board, and in one pass cut 126 squares. And then you can lay your fabric here to cut 60-degree diamonds, 45 or 30. So we have lots of videos on our website and our YouTube page that talk about strip dies. So I'm gonna leave these little strips here because we're gonna use them in just a second. So 2.5-inch strip, it's awesome. Now, quilters, if you own a Go Big electric fabric cutter, there are just a handful of dies that are built for just the Go Big. And this is one of them. This is our Go Big Square 10-inch, 9.5-inch finished. Because layer cakes in the quilting world are 10-inch squares. So you have to make sure when you're ordering it that you order the one that is a 10-inch square that finishes to 9 inches. Because some of you will think, oh, I need the 10.5 so it'll finish at 10 inches. Nope, it's gonna cut 10 inches. So what I've done is, again, look at this, quilters. This was just fabric that I found in my little stash, which actually isn't so little. Now, notice this. This is so I wouldn't forget. Typically, quilters, when we use our Go Big, we can take this fabric and kind of fold it up next to the die and run it through the cutter. But this actually is on a 14 by 16 die board, so there's not a lot of wiggle room. So in this case, I'm just gonna take my stack, okay, and I'm just gonna take my rotary cutter and my ruler, and I'm just gonna trim it down a bit. Ooh, we call that the raccoon drawer because often I am shuffling through it trying to find things. Okay, so I'm just gonna come right here. I don't care about the length, I care about the height. Okay, so I'm just gonna come right here. And I'm going to keep these pieces because I'm going to show you some cool tricks on how to use just scraps. So look at that. All right. So now what I can do, I am a big Post-it note person. They're everywhere. All right. So now what I'm going to do, you want to find that lengthwise grain. I left the salvage on this particular one so you could see this is that nice tight, look, lengthwise grain, okay? You want the lengthwise grain to go through the cutter parallel to those lengthwise blades. And I'm gonna just scooch it over here because truly, quilters, I wanna make sure that I'm getting the most, right, out of my cuts. Now, if you wanna go big, you need to make sure you own a 14 by 16 cutting mat to go over the top. All right, so now I am gonna run this through my Go Big. I'm not really worried about that fabric there at the front. And speaking of Go Big cutters, oh, it's mad, hold on. I touched the wire down there. I'll turn it this way. I stepped on the wire, it wasn't happy. Ah. Pardon? Oh, am I putting it at an angle? See there, we just need it to be straight. Ah! Okay, we're not gonna worry about it. Okay, I think I keep touching the bottom over here, and it's not happy about that. We'll try one more time. Okay. We'll have to check on that die, make sure that it's good. But speaking of Go Big catchers, look at this. This is our Go Big die catcher. And you can put, it's built to hold the cord and the power brick right here. You could put snacks in it. Now, if you want to know, and it just slides, look, just right there, on and off, okay? If you want to know more about our Go Big die catcher, you can go to the Applique Quilt website to learn more about it, or you can talk to your local retailer to find out how to order one, okay? We always give away things on our show. Today is no exception. The lucky registered viewer winning $100 in Applique Quilt reward points is, drum roll please. It is Jocelyn T. of Savoy, Texas. Congratulations, Jocelyn. Listen, this afternoon I will put those reward points onto the account associated with your email. All right. So now that we've made some pre-cuts, let's look at some dies we can use with them, okay? So we're gonna start here, okay? And we're gonna start with our bowl cozy die. So this is on a 10 by 10 die board. It fits through our Go cutter. It can also fit through our Go Big. And it is perfect for layer cakes. All right, and here's some samples of some bowl cozy that we've made. You'll notice this one was actually an old, like an orphan block that you could totally use. Look at how cute that is. And you could do decorative fabric if you wanted to. We have some, it's called Wrap and Zap. It's on our Applique Quilt website. It helps with the insulation of the bowl cozy. Remember, if you're gonna put bowl cozies in the microwave, everything has to be cotton. The thread has to be cotton. The insulation, which is Wrap and Zap, has to be cotton, everything. So this is our Go bowl cozy. All right. Now another die that's really great with pre-cuts and our layer cakes is this one. Any idea what it is? It is the Go Cross Canoe block. And it makes this super fun 10-inch block, right? 9-inch block, there we go. But this one's kind of cool because you could use, here, we can use some of our fabric here. We're gonna cut some and show you. This is really great because, again, I'm just going to come right here, show you how to use 2 different fabrics. Okay, put on my 10 by 10 cutting mat. And this is great because you can use just 2 colors, you can use 4 colors. It's really a cool block. And if you're new to Applique Quilt, boy howdy, this is the one that's great because it's really a simple block to put together. I think we have right here. Yeah. So look at how cool this is. So it's going to have sides and the center. Hold on here. This one right here, Greg. And sides. And then the point. So look at how easy that one was. So this is great for layer cakes because then you can just use 2 colors and build out your cross canoes. I like that one. All right, next is one of my very, very, very favorite dies. And it is the Go Wonky Heart die. I'm gonna grab my fabric here. Okay. So here is my pro tip. This is the block that it makes. It's perfect for layer cakes. You want all the fabric facing up. You can't fan fold your fabric because then half your pieces will be backwards. But what I did was I took and made a copy of the die. I just put it on our copy machine and made it because I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So I'm going to make sure all my fabric right here is facing up. And I'm just going to do 2 layers so I can show you how this works. This is super slick. Okay. Okay. All my fabric facing up. And then I'm going to show you this darling project you can make in it. It's like a weekend project. Not sure what you're doing this weekend, but boy howdy, you should be quilting. Okay, so here's some of my scraps. Again, I'm not too worried about this because I'm using my Go Big. Okay, give it a little love. Slide, don't lift. Okay, and very carefully, this is not, don't just be yanking that off of there. Very carefully. Now, look what you can do. You can add them here, okay? Because what's going to happen is, there we go. I grabbed them out of order. Now I'm stressed about it. Okay, here we go. Look at this. So what you can do, you can always cut up to 6 layers, right? And then you want to shift the middle ones. So if you have this out here, then you can put all your pieces on the paper and then you can shift your center pieces to make the heart. That's actually one of my favorite things to do. The same concept with the Go Crazy quilt block. Make a paper copy of it, lay out your pieces, and then you can stack them and make your blocks, which I think is super cool. All right, let me show you this super cute Go Wonky Heart baby quilt. Oh, thank you for having them in the right order. Oh, look at this. So what a great way to use up your scraps. Maybe you have some batiks. Hearts don't always have to be red and pink. They could be blue, they could be green, they could be all the different colors. But this was a really great way to use up your scraps and just take those centers and do like I tell you, and then you can shuffle the centers and they'll all be different. And then we used a super cute border and binding on this, which really adds to the quilt. I love the green with the pink. All right. Are you getting excited? Are you thinking about all the scraps that you have? So many ways to use them. All right, so now we're going to show you I'm going to show you a trick using the Go Washington's puzzle die. So first, let's talk about the die. Here you go, Mr. Greg. So this die has 3 distinct shapes that you cannot find anywhere else on a cube. And look, this is the block that it makes. Really is super fun, okay? And it finishes to 4 inches, so you could think about using like your 4-inch cube or your 8-inch cube. It's just amazing, all right? Now, here's the other thing I'm gonna tell you. You want to have all your fabric facing up on this die because they are directional shapes. Now, here, we're gonna use one we cut. Okay, so here's one of the charm squares that I cut. So in your quilting head, you're thinking, oh, darn it. I can't use a charm square because look, it's just a little bit too short, like 1/4 of an inch. But actually, I'm gonna show you this really cool trick that I learned. One of our educators, Shannon Patterson, gets all the credit for this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna find my 6x6 die mat. All right. Okay, so what I've done is I've laid my charm square and I'm just barely coming to the edge right here. Okay, I'm gonna use my 6x6 mat. Now this is actually small enough. It will fit through all of our Go cutters, including the Go Me. This is a really fun project. Don't forget, check out the Go Big Die Catcher. All right, give it some love. All right, so now all of my pieces are facing up, okay? So I'm gonna just lay them here so you can see. It takes me a minute to get it. Okay, now all of you are stressed because look, there's not enough room, but actually there is. So now I'm just gonna barely cover the top shape C, and I know some of you haven't realized this, but your mat doesn't have to go straight on the die board. It can go at an angle. So I'm just gonna cover where the top of shape C ends because it makes this little edge, right? Okay, I'm gonna come here to my cutter, and you could totally do 6 layers with this. Okay. I would tell you to practice. All of our shows are recorded, so you can come back and watch this one. They're available on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page and our website. So now look, now I have a piece big enough to cover that bottom section. All right, so I would just put my mat on and then I could cut 4 out of a charm square. So that's one of the great things about practicing, right? Think about ways to kind of manipulate your shapes and your fabric on the die. Well, not the shapes, but your fabric on the die and your mat. Because Shannon showed us that even though we thought it was going to be too small, it's not. All right, let me show you this super cute project. It is called the Go Tilted Whimsy Quilt by Melanie Call of a Bit of Scrap Stuff. Okay, it's actually one of my favorite quilts. All of these quilts are free patterns available at ApplequeShapes.com. Melanie did such a great job with this. She made it very scrappy. She put in that sashing and those cornerstones and then a binding. You only need 9 of the Washington puzzle shapes, so you could totally just make this in a weekend. So huge shout out to Melanie. She did a great job on this one. All right, now think about not only using charm squares for geometric shapes, but also think about using them on our Go Carefree Alphabet die. The thing to remember is you want to pre-fuse your fabric, okay, before you, so if this is my charm square, and you want to pre-fuse it, and all of the shapes here on the Go Carefree Alphabet, you want your fabric to face down. Okay, you can see they're backwards on the die. All right, if you pre-fuse fabric, you can only use 4 layers of pre-fused cotton. All right, one of my last little tricks I want to show you is about those 2.5-inch strips. All right, so here we go. Anybody know what this die is? We don't talk about it very often. It's really cute. It is called Go Simple Shapes by our good friend Aditya Sitar. And it is an applique shape, an applique die that is designed for 2.5-inch strips. I know, it's amazing. So watch this. So remember these cute little charm squares that we cut here? So what you would do is you would pre-fuse your strip, okay? And then look, this part you could lay over the leaves, and down here, these are flowers and birds. You could do different shapes that are different colors there. So this is a die that was specifically designed to use with jelly rolls. It's called Simple Shapes by Aditya Sitar. All right, quilters, are you thinking about all the things you're going to bust up in your stash? I hope so. Since today's trunk show is all about pre-cuts, here is our question we want to know. Take our little poll. What's your favorite size of pre-cuts? Is it 10-inch layer cakes, 5-inch charm squares, or 2.5-inch jelly rolls? Voting is now open wherever you stream our show. Let us know. We're going to talk about those at the end of our show today. I have to tell you, probably my favorite pre-cuts are charm squares because I often use them for applique shapes. And I do like jelly rolls if I'm doing like a scrappy binding or a specific project where you just need those strips. So like a rail fence block. But let's talk scrappy because truly, truly, truly scrappy is my favorite thing. And one of the best dies to cut scraps is the Go pineapple die. All right, I'm going to move these out of the way. All right. All right. So here is the Go pineapple die. And actually, this is really a fun die. It's on a 6x24 die board. It's going to fit through all of our cutters, including that Go Me. So if you have that Go Me, you can. And I want to think, it's been a couple of years, maybe 2 years ago, on a Wednesday show, I wanted to make like pineapple upside down cake blocks. So I took a variety of yellows for this, scraps. And then these corners, you would put 4 of them together and it kind of look like the maraschino cherries that are usually typically found in pineapple upside down cake. So I actually made a project with it at home and I had an extra block that I saved. So a couple of things you need to notice about this die, and let's talk about it. First of all, shapes E, so it's divided by color, okay? So here's the center and the outside of the block, which is typically white and red, okay? Mine's a little different, okay? Then this is the light and this is the patterned fabric, okay? They're divided by that. And you'll notice there is an E and an F in the lights and an E and an F in the pattern. They are the same shapes, but you need to cut them for both the lights and the patterns. So as you start here in the center, you're going to start with A, and then you're going to add B, and then you're going to add C. Ooh, look at me doing this right. Okay? Now you'll notice these are brown, these are yellow. Well, when you get to here, you need some yellows and some browns. So that's kind of where it gets a little tricky where you're doing the E and the F. But if you just build from the center, press away, it's super cool. So let me show you how I would do this. Because people ask me all the time, they're like, well, how do you get those scrappy looks? Okay? So let's find some scrappy fabrics that I pulled. Don't forget to tell us in the comments section what you want to do there, okay? What's your favorite size of pre-cuts? Okay, so here I'm going to use my scissors here. So if you just want to make it scrappy, all you have to do is just do layers of scraps. The important thing to remember is that lengthwise grain, okay? So if this is my white and this is my patterned, these are both lengthwise grain. Look, nice and tight, okay? So I would just lay a variety of pieces of my scraps, just covering those shapes. And then just like we did before, okay, I'm going to use a 6x12 mat. So you could do 6 layers, right? And then as you make your blocks, you can shuffle those. Do love it. Okay, so I'm going to come here. I'm not really worried about it going over the top there, the fabric hanging off the edge. Okay. Give it some love, slide, don't lift. Okay. And now look, I still have really good usable scraps. So I'm just going to trim those. Okay. Now, I have this really high-tech way of keeping track of pieces. For those of you who've watched our show before, they're called Ziploc bags. So when I'm creating pineapple blocks, I am going to create bags that say D and E and F and B, and then G and C and E and F. All right? Make sure you have 2 for E and F, right? And then you can put them in there, and then as you're building out your block, you're going to see how these all go together. And we've dog-eared the corners, so your pieces are going to line up. It's going to be perfect. So I'm going to tell you that pineapple is probably one of my favorite scrap busters because you can just make it scrappy. You can make it 2 colors, really, really fast and easy. And speaking of pineapples, if you have tons of yellow scraps, you want to make this. This is called Brock or Kenyon. Do we have that pineapple quilt? Oh, maybe it's right here. Here we go. Ah, there we go. Oh, this is a different one. This is my other favorite one. I was like, wait, I was looking for the one that has the pineapple on it. This is the Go Scrappy Pineapple Quilt, and I absolutely adore this quilt, and I want to show you why, okay? I'm going to lay it down here so we can see the pieces. Very seldom in quilts do you ever use solid black. And in this particular quilt, the centers and the corners are solid black, which I think is brilliant because it just makes it such a great modern look. And then look at all of these different scrappy fabrics. This has owls, this has hedgehogs, these are flags, these are flowers. So talk about an ultimate scrap buster, right? And then the quilting was super cool because they came along here and quilted not in the ditch, but just right next to it to kind of really, really show the quilting on this. And I was going to see who made this. Oh, Bea Lee from Be a Quilter. So look at how cool this is. So I like this other one. I like this one. We also have another one if you have yellow scraps called the Go Pineapple Lemonade. It's a free pattern on AppliqueShapes.com. Listen, both of them are on my to-do list. I really, really, really want to make a scrappy one like Bea made here. All right, don't forget to tell us in the poll what's your favorite pre-cut. All right, now another fan favorite scrap busting die is the Go Log Cabin die. Are we good? Okay. So I want to talk about this die. I think we've talked about it a couple of times in the last couple of months, but I really, really want to show you this. Last year for our AQS quilt along, Erica and I actually made log cabin quilts, and I'm going to show you mine. But I want to talk about this because there are two really important things to know. This die has crosswise blades. Do not take your jelly rolls and just lay them right here, because this is the lengthwise grain. This is that bias edge. So first of all, a jelly roll is 2.5 inches, and this is only 1.5 inches high. So it's going to waste about 1 inch of fabric. So when you're laying fabric out on this die, you want to find the lengthwise grain. I'm going to cut my little piece here so I can show you. Okay, so look, nice and tight. High and tight is right, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to find the widest section that I can use this fabric on. So it looks like I can come right here to 2, okay? And I'm just going to go fan folding back and forth just barely across the blades. There are blades here and here and here and here and one in the center, okay? All right, and then let's find some other scraps. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Okay, so, this is going to be a perfect example because all of you are going to wonder how I'm going to do this, okay? So I can come back and forth across the die board, okay? This is the die I use every time I finish a project because I want to bust up my scraps into usable pieces, okay? So I've just barely covered shape number 10, okay? Now, if I take my 10 by 24 mat, it's going to cut 11, which would be fine, but it's also just going to cut off 12, and then I've wasted some fabric. So let me show you this super cool trick, okay? So I'm going to use the same length of a mat, but I'm going to use a different width. So I'm just going to come right here and barely cover those blades. See, here's shape 11, okay? All right, so you can use different sizes of mats to just cut the pieces you need. Okay, you ready? Give it some love, slide, don't lift. Now see, look, I've cut those shape number 2s, and I've cut this. And now I still have some really great real estate, so I could cut more strips if I wanted to, okay? So remember, it's only gonna cut where there's die in a mat. So use a smaller mat, manipulate that fabric and that mat over like we did in Washington's puzzle, okay? Think about that. I am making such a good mess here. Okay, so here is my quilt that I made last year as part of the quilt along, and it is the Go Scrappy Star pattern. It's a free pattern at appliquequilt.com. So for me, it was great because I had some half-yard cuts of batik, and so all I did was just cut them all up, and then I just made sure that when I was sewing the sections here, I'll put it here so we can talk about it. So this is all just solid white. And then when I was sewing the sections together, I just made sure that there were no duplicates of the fabric that I used, and then each of the ones are scrappy. Okay, kind of cool. Speaking of quilt-alongs, if you haven't joined, be sure and join Eric and I for our AccuQuilt, AQS AccuQuilt Along. We're making the Go Simply cubed quilt using the Mix and Match 10-inch cube. We have a show tomorrow. Well, Erica will still be gone, but I'll be here tomorrow at 12 noon Central Time. But you can watch the previous shows on our YouTube page and our AccuQuilt website to join. It's not too late to join. It's super fun. You should also join the AQS Project Parade Facebook group, and that way we can see everybody's fabric and their blocks that they're making. All right, Quilters, it is time for our next giveaway. The lucky registered winner winning $100 in AccuQuilt reward points is, drum roll please, Sandra M. from Ellenburg, New York. Congratulations, Sandra. Don't forget to register for our shows. You only have to do it once. We're going to pull winners there throughout the year. Good job, Sandra. All right, so we should finish up our show with applique. All right, and I'm going to tell you that that's one of the reasons I love charm squares, is that they're perfect for applique shapes. So we have tons of applique dies. I don't know, 50, 60 or so. They have flowers and hearts and stars and animals and birds. We also have several choices of fusible available on the AccuQuilt website. So be sure and pre-fuse your fabric before you cut it on the die. You can always cut up to 4 layers of cotton with fusible. You have to count that fusible as a half a layer, all right? And think about too, if you have an embroidery machine, we have free embroidery downloads for all of our applique shapes. They come in a satin stitch, a blanket stitch, and a motif stitch. So one of my favorite dies for applique is the Go Farm Medley die. This die is meant to stack on each other. So here's our cow, and our pig could stack on here, and our chicken can stack on the cow, which I think is adorable. So this is some scraps that I had. I just pre-fused it, and I did trim it down a little bit so that it wasn't all jaggedy on the die. All right. Again, I'm just going to cut pigs. All right. So I'm just going to cover that shape. All right. Here we go. I love that it cuts the hole out of his tail. It's super cute. All right, so there's our pig. One of the great things about our applique shapes is the detail, right? You know, it's not just kind of, you can't really tell that that's a pig, you know, for sure that's a pig, you know, that's a cow. And look at those tiny little chicken legs. All right, and we have a super cute project to go with it, which now I can say, thank you, Kenyon, for pulling quilts. This is the Go Colors and Counting Baby Quilt, and it's by Marjorie Busby, and she is from Blue Feather Quilt Studios, and it's super cute. She used our cube system to make the little barn in the center, and then she added the pigs and chickens. Don't forget, lots and lots of our applique shapes, in fact, I would say most of them are directional. So depending on which way you want your pigs and your cows and your chickens to go, make sure you line them up the right way, either facing up or facing down. All right, quilters, you ready for another giveaway? Because I'm all about the giveaways today. We have fabric to give away. Our good friends at Dear Stellas gave us a fabric selection to give away. And Erica's not here, so I can just pull it all out. I don't have to peek or anything. Oh my gosh, look at how cute this fabric is. Oh my goodness, it's just in time for spring. It has flowers and trees and ladybugs. Oh, look at how pretty this is. Oh my gosh, this is great. Okay, we have 2 bundles to give away. So the first winner of the Dear Stella fabric selection is, drum roll please, Nora B. from Olympia, Washington. Congratulations, Nora. You are going to love this. Here, I'll hold it up so you can see. The second winner of a selection of fabric is, drum roll please, Gail N. from Ventura, California. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, a huge shout out to Dear Stella for these fun fabrics just in time for spring. All right, quilters, early in the show I asked, what's your favorite size of precuts? So now it's time to see how you voted. Oh, okay, you ready? Our voters came in and the favorite precut is, drum roll please, jelly rolls. Oh, okay. We should talk about that because I think jelly rolls are kind of underrated, right? They're great for gifts. They're great for fabric swaps. Really good for quilts. Lots of quilts just use a jelly roll. So now you know how to make your own. All right, quilters, we have tons of great deals available for you on your website. To get your order in, open a new tab in your browser. Type in appliquequilt.com/party. It'll take you right to our site. You can see the offers and place your order. All right, it's time for me to get ready for tomorrow's show. I hope that today's trunk show is just what you needed to inspire you to bust up your scraps in a flash. See you next time. Thanks for watching our show. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel and look for live events every Tuesday and Wednesday.
You can visit the events page on AccuQuilt's website for more details on upcoming shows. And while you're there, check out the blog for tips, tricks, tutorials, and inspiration galore.
And remember, at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time
so you can quilt more.
Be sure to join me every Wednesday at 12 noon Central Time for AccuQuilt Live. We have tons of fun. Tomorrow, we're continuing with our AQS AccuQuilt Along. You want to tune in to see if you've won a prize that we give away during the show. And then join us every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time for launch parties and trunk shows, just like we had today. These events are filled with tips, tricks, and inspiration. Next time, we're launching the May Die to Try. Hope to see you there.